Fantastic. Welcome back, everybody. Well, our next guest is here to teach us how to find money that may be hidden in our homes. Everyone, please welcome appraiser and antique dealer, Todd Milks.
Welcome to the show, my friends. Good to see you. How are you? How are you? Good to see you, honey. Good to see you. Okay, so this is really exciting. These are the kinds of things that you do not expect to have any value in your house.
Yeah, absolutely. As an appraiser, when I'm working with people who are downsizing, I get constantly asked that question: what things are valuable that could potentially be in our home?
All right.
Yeah.
First
some of these
thing, let's go through some of this.
Let's talk about old toys.
Well, these are like vestiges of baby boomers being babies. And so every house has old toys for the most part, and people don't realize that they do have value.
That's right.
And can we just talk about what is this little guy here? And you're talking about in their individual boxes is very...
Yeah, to have them what we call mint in box definitely adds value and interest for the collector. Condition is very important.
Yeah.
Right. This particular example is a Japanese little dog in a box.
And it has value. What kind of value would that have?
Well, this particular object is worth about $100.
Really?
But a tin toy robot recently sold online for $20,000.
Which we have a picture of there. So that was $20,000 for that.
That was a few weeks ago.
Somebody was cleaning up their garage, saw that. How do they find out how much it is?
Online is always a great resource. It's a good place to start. I think it's important to also align yourself with people that know what they're talking about.
Right.
Take it to an expert.
Right.
Yeah,
so you don't get taken advantage of when you have something really special.
Exactly.
Right, that's very good. I never assume that it's just kind of garbage to throw it away.
Right. Come on down
Let's go to jewelry, Todd, because this is where you always think that diamonds are going to be,
well, this is
pricey.
it. Everybody thinks about gold and diamonds, but the fact is that some of the costume, which is plastic and rhinestones, can be worth more than the real stuff.
So let's talk about the plastic, because we were talking during the break. This is actually, it just looks so cheap and so hideous.
Yeah.
But you say it has some value, because this is stuff that my grandma had like years and years ago. What kind of plastic? There's a name for this plastic.
This is called Bakelite, actually.
Bakelite.
It's an early Art Deco plastic. Yeah.
Really? And it has real value.
Yeah, I mean, there were 3 of those plastic bangles that sold recently for $3,000 online as well.
$3,000.
$3,000. And that's the kind of stuff your mom used to give you for Halloween costumes and stuff.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It ends up in the garbage or given out to the church sale.
Absolutely. You just throw it away.
And rhinestones, big value as well?
Absolutely. This is by a Montreal jeweler. These are sign pieces, actually. They're by Sherman. Very desirable, very collectible. And with this kind of stuff, the showier, the better. So if it's really glitzy, that's what the collectors pay a premium for.
Right.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Okay. Okay, so the next one I think is extremely interesting.
Militia.
Yeah. Well,
or militaria.
Militaria.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's no better story told than when people are, in war. And I think that fascinates the collector.
Absolutely.
And the further we get away from World War I and World War II, the rarer this stuff becomes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now, I was also reading in the notes that if you have, like, if one person has many medals, selling that as a group, as a collection, would be more valuable.
The collectors love a story. And so the more pieces you have from a soldier, the better it is, the more a premium they'll pay for it.
Right.
Wow, okay.
So if you do have something like that, don't break it up.
No.
You're saying keep it as a collection.
And I'm talking about the uniforms, the badges, even the notebooks and that type of thing. The hats, all of it is really important.
So we have a photo of a collection, a group?
Well, recently, again, another online sale, there were 5 medals, a group of 5 medals that sold for $16,000.
$16,000 for that. That is incredible.
Wow.
And you would have no idea. Okay, so let's go to Christmas and Halloween decorations.
Yeah, well, these I love. And it's interesting. And a lot of people would think that Christmas might be the most collectible, but in fact, it's Halloween.
Really? More so than Christmas?
Collectors will pay a premium for Halloween. If you think about it, we'll send out hundreds of Christmas cards, but not many people sent out something for Halloween. So it is a rare holiday.
Okay, and it's about what's rare. So what is this piece right here?
This piece is so cool. What is
this? This is actually fantastic. This is a 1930s German paper skull.
And what would the value of something like this be in this condition?
Yeah, this is really great. So this one's worth about $200.
$200 for that? I feel like I could go cut that out and I could, try to sell that on eBay.
Right? Yeah.
But that's got value, and the reason is?
Well, the reason is it's just Halloween is very collected. I think there's a cult following for Halloween.
Okay.
And holidays in general, the memories, and people are attracted to that kind of thing.
And we have a photo of what is the...
Well, the candy containers, just to demonstrate how, So a Halloween container with a witch, 1930s on it, sold for $3,200. And a similar one from with Santa Claus on a reindeer sold for $2,800. So you can see there the difference between the prices.
Wow, unbelievable.
But big money for that type of thing.
Yeah. And again, okay, so the next one we have here, photos. This is the kind of stuff you go to a lot of antique stores and you see boxes of this stuff.
I think you can go to your grandparents' basement, though, and you can see a lot of this stuff.
Lots of them, right?
And how do you know?
Well, what happens is, I mean, photography was invented in 1820. So by 1900, everybody had a camera.
Right.
So we flash forward 5, 6 generations. Everybody's got all these photographs, and not a lot of people remember who they are.
Right. Yeah,
so they're coming into the marketplace, and collectors are snapping them up. And you can go down to your local flea market and buy one for a few dollars.
Right. What makes it more valuable?
Well, there are certain categories that are more valuable. You want to look for military photos, can be quite collectible.
Yeah.
But it's really quirky. I mean, I have a collector who buys photos of wedding cakes.
Right.
It's a very personal thing.
Really?
Yeah. So, you know, it just depends on the person. Pets are very popular, and photo albums.
That is so unusual, so unusual. Next one here, let's go to buttons first, because I found this fascinating, because my mother has button boxes at home. I'm digging through.
There might be something worth of value. You said there was one that sold for a lot of money recently.
Yeah, well, again, another online sale. There was a button that recently sold for over $3,000, a Victorian button.
Wow.
Hand-painted. But, I mean, it's tiny, and it's the kind of thing that could have been sitting in a jar of buttons.
And so when you're going through your basement, you decide you're going to get rid of all of this stuff. Invite someone over to look at all of this.
I always say invite somebody over before you start throwing stuff out. Because you need an expert opinion as to what can be valuable, because this stuff is hiding in drawers that people don't have any clues about.
Absolutely.
So simple. Now,
and
this is
my mother just went through my grandmother's, again, with this not too long ago.
It took worth a fortune. We don't know.
Patterns.
Yeah, well, patterns, and this is another thing I think every house has. Everybody made their clothes 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Everyone did.
And I mean, it is a bit of a needle in a haystack. They're not all worth a lot of money, but there was one, again, recently that sold for $300 or $400 online, and groupings of them do regularly sell for the hundreds of dollars. So.
And again, if you have it, don't throw it away.
Don't throw it all away. Keep it.
It's
Find
there.
out if it's got the value. And if you have all of it, you could sell the house and go and upgrade. You're not going to downgrade. It's like I'm just going to sell. I'm not downgrading. Well, great job, Todd. Thank you so much for being with us. Good job.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Andrea Bain is with us, and she's going to show us how to finally ditch that toxic friend. You guys have any toxic friends you need to ditch?